Hey everybody, Rosewaltz here, your favorite Femkai cosplayer and variety streamer with a focus on fighting games. After 250 hours, I finally hit Celestial in Guilty Gear Strive. This is really exciting for me, as Guilty Gear Strive was the first fighting game that I really dove into and got invested in, and to be able to reach the kind of max top peak short of actually placing well at a tournament is really exciting. I've kind of seen what it's like to start as a new player and get I would say Celestial probably is like a middling skill level in Guilty Gear. So this video is partly to brag about me achieving a goal in a fighting game that I've wanted to do for quite a long time, and also to try to pass off some of the things I learned as I was learning Guilty Gear Strive to those of you who are maybe trying to achieve the same goal. First off, we do have to mention that the Guilty Gear Strive's kind of ranking slash tower system is a little bit flawed. For the most part, floors 1 to maybe 7 or 8 are kind of the same, if that makes sense. A lot of the times you play on these floors, everyone will kind of be learning the same thing, learning their character, learning how to do combos, learning how the system mechanics works, and just at various different levels. You might come across someone who really knows how Roman cancels work, but can't do a combo to save their lives, or you know someone who's really good at setting up Okizeme situations, but absolutely cannot Roman cancel for the life of them and just leaves their tension meter to rot. In any case, my only advice as advancing through floors 1 to 7 or 8 or so is to just really familiarize with your character. Things like a really easy bread and butter combo are going to go a really long way towards just getting you the damage you need to finish out rounds when you do find an opening. In my case, I play Kai, and that bread and butter combo is Fuja Arc loops. Close slash 5H Fuja Arc until you get the wall break, and then you ascend them to the next screen. Positive bonus is really beneficial in this game. Being able to get more tension and more burst meter quicker is super duper valuable. So having a way to convert your combos into a wall break is gonna get you a really long ways. The second thing is learning how Roman cancels work. Roman cancels are super valuable in making sure you can keep your pressure up or keep yourself safe, and while I won't go super in depth in exactly what those entail here, just being able to follow through the tutorials that they give you within the game or those training missions will definitely set you on the right path. And my last piece of advice is don't be afraid to try things. If you're someone who hates labbing characters like I do, because I think it's so boring, I find it much more fun to just try out different answers to different situations. Is someone absolutely obliterating you with their pressure? Try to mash out every once in a while. It's not going to work a lot, but once you find the answer, it'll help you a ton when you run against other people playing that character. Now for the real meat and potatoes of this video, the real main entree, the real 3-course meal, the real other food metaphor. How do you actually reach Celestial once you hit floor 8 or 9? And that answer is not super straightforward. From the moment I touched Guilty Gear Strive, I was a Kai Kaisuke main. I adore his playstyle, and while in other fighting games I've played and played since Strive, I tend to gravitate away from the Shoto characters, something about Kai really appealed to me. He has absolutely ridiculous normals, his dragon install is super duper cool, and Stun Dipper is absolutely obnoxious. I kind of can't believe it's a real move in the video game. However, once I got to floor 8 or 9, things weren't really super straightforward. The things I had learned weren't immediately turning into wins on my screen. No amount of cool frame traps or throwing out Stun Dipper in neutral was going to help me against people who actually knew how to block reasonably. And against zoning heavy characters like Testament or Axel, I often found myself unable to get in at all. So what I had to do was really kind of look at how I was playing and figure out why it wasn't working. What I've got playing in the background are some of my Celestial matches that I played during my promo and right after my promo against one player who was really fun to play against, a really good player, and wanted to do a mirror match, which I love mirror matches, so it was super cool. But what you're looking at now is the top of my skill level, and if I'm being totally honest, it actually doesn't look that different from what my floor 7, 8, 9 replays used to look like. The real difference in these videos that you're watching is how I'm applying the things that I learned on those floors in a much different way. In a way that allows me to mix up the opponent, to vary my jump-ins, to play decent defense, and to whiff punish. All of these things kind of come together, and while I have the same tools, finding out the best way to apply them was really the game changer that let me actually get to Celestial. Now that's vague enough that it probably doesn't help anyone in all honesty, so let me kind of specify an exact example of what I'm talking about. One major thing I saw when I was looking at matches against zoning characters was that I would always jump in exactly the same way. Up forward, instant air dash, then hit JH or JS, and most of the time I would just get 6P'd. The reason it never occurred to me that this was not a good way to do it is because when people approached me this way, I was maybe 50-50 on actually anti-airing them. Because it was a weakness for me, I thought it would be a weakness for everybody else, and that was a fool's gambit. What I learned to do was vary my jump-ins, if that makes sense. I had to leverage the tools that Kai has. Kai has some really unique aerial normals that can help a ton with this. JD in particular is a great air stalling move to help you whiff punish if you do it high enough in the air. You can whiff punish as you're falling after the move if they hit 6P a little early. Kai's jumping slash is also very cool in that it hits incredibly late if you just space the button out a little bit. Something I ran into while I was trying this was oftentimes I would hit the ground before the move actually came out, but once I got that timing down, I was actually able to just jump in with JH and convert into a combo as it hit late enough. And even more exciting was if the JH was blocked, if I hit it late enough, they couldn't return with a throw, which was one of the huge weaknesses of my jump-ins. Another thing that I wanted to really level up was my Okuzeme situations. Obviously, Kai has Charged Stun Edge, which is great for Okuzeme as it pretty much guarantees that when they wake up they're going to have to block. But to balance this, Kai doesn't have any grounded overheads aside from the universal ones. Everything hits low, so the opponent can just block low on wake up and you don't really get anywhere. You can maybe do a block string that'll keep Shock State, but it doesn't necessarily mean that you'll open up your opponent. So I realized I do actually have to leverage these universal mechanics. Things like doing Fujer Arc and RCing after the hit so that I could challenge a instant overhead or maybe drop into a low was a really great mix-up tool that most characters honestly have access to. Another one was realizing just how good Tap Dust is. I will admit it's probably a little better for Kai, as Kai doesn't have any overheads, so it'll take people by surprise, they won't be expecting it. But Tap Dust in particular, it's a 20-frame startup move that is pretty much unreactable if you're over the age of 13, I would assume. And if you have any tension gauge, that leads into a full combo if you RRC it. It's really useful and something I just absolutely was not utilizing. Something else I realized is that I wasn't really using my tension gauge effectively. I didn't really know how to use Roman cancels outside of red Roman cancel to extend a combo off of a stray hit, and this was actually a huge detriment. Things like purple Roman cancel and yellow Roman cancel are incredibly useful for keeping you safe or getting you some space. While these things aren't nearly as flashy as getting a full combo or using a super, they're probably just as influential. My personal favorite was using late purple RC after a stun dipper during the recovery frames. This is super useful because a lot of people expect red Roman cancel either after the first or second hit of stun dipper just so you can keep up your pressure. However, if that red Roman cancel doesn't come out, a lot of people are just waiting to get their super big punish, as you are minus 1 billion after stun dipper. However, late purple RC serves two purposes. One, the slowdown from the purple RC will make it so that the startup of their move takes forever, and you can take your own action. Specifically, I like doing throws after late purple RC, and it makes it really hard to react to. Think of it like a super miniature version of that Potemkin purple RC into Potbuster. However, I didn't come up with that kind of technique on my own. I actually got it from watching other Kai players online, which I think is super duper useful. Not for you to watch Kai players, you should watch players of the character that you're playing, obviously. But for me, it was watching Kai players, of which there's actually quite a few really good ones. My personal favorite is Danny, who plays a lot in the weekly TNSs that happen. And it's actually from him that I learned that delayed purple RC on the Stun Dipper, but I also learned something really cool from him, which kind of reminded me of how I play Street Fighter, which is jumping on Okazeme to kind of beat delayed tech. This is super useful because often when Kais don't throw out the charged stun edge, you can all but expect a throw to be coming or a meaty 5k. However, if you just jump, they'll probably whiff a button, and you can hit them with a JH on landing into a full combo. And I never would have known about this if I didn't actually watch high-level players. But the number one most important tip, in all honesty, was to have fun. And I know that sounds so fucking cliche, but it's honest. As I'm climbing through these ranks, it was very easy to get tilted, especially in Strive's tower system. You'll find yourself rising and dropping from floor 9 to Celestial promos very often, and it's incredibly frustrating. So for me, just being able to make sure that I was still having fun with the game was super crucial. In my case, it was using Dragon Install, my personal favorite move in the game. Is it good? Not really. A lot of people consider Dragon Install to be one of the worst supers in the game, behind like Heavy Mob Cemetery. But it is very fun, and it can still help you pull out a game. So whenever I got the chance to use it, and I won with it, it would instantly fix my mental. So yeah, that's how I got to Celestial. I hope these tips helped you in some way, but the key is to just think about how you're using your character's tools, how you could use them better, and how you're maybe playing very predictably. And if you kind of adjust these things and watch what higher level players do, I honestly think that you'll be Celestial in no time, viewer, just like your favorite Femkai cosplayer, Rose Waltz.